Yes. Oh, I just love the video with the greater demons, man. Come on.
Oh,
Talking about great demons in here.
Yes.
Ooh.
is that you?
It is me. As I have arrived, unmuted myself to try and do some sort of transition. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 6 of Off the Shelf Hobby Podcast. I am your host today, GazOfAllTrades, and as always, I am joined by my favourite 4 people in the Warhammer and the hobby world: Alex, George, Evan, and John. Say hello, everyone.
Hello,
everyone.
In the hobby world?
Come on, I believe it.
He likes specific people more than us.
No, I just like the idea that Gaz enters any other world.
You're not wrong. I don't.
Weird.
The world of no hobby.
The world of
A sad world.
of fiance.
Nah.
No, it's not a world.
To hobby or to not hobby?
No. No.
Always hobby, constant, unending.
More like hobby.
Mate, I barely paint as it is. Like, I'm not really in the hobby world that much, apart from on a Thursday.
And Tuesdays now.
And Tuesdays, that's true. Apart from the last one. But welcome everyone. We were struggling to kind of figure out what to talk about this week, but I did some digging, and I think we've got some... We can have a good argument about list building, because that's always fun.
Oh yeah.
And I think in reality we should just jump right in it. Plus there was a couple of announcements, a couple of extra bits, and just to have some hobby chats. First off, I would like to say and ask, because I pinged you guys and you never actually answered my question, how did the weekly workshop go?
Oh shit!
It was just
What I
a chill
did.
time.
Yeah, it was chill.
That's good.
It was
I
a
didn't do
quiet
too
full
much.
time.
Well, I made a lot of mess. I was carving a lot of foam,
Mm.
and then I kept doing the absolute brain dead thing of, man, there's foam everywhere, but clear that, and then I would blow on it, and then it would go everywhere, and then there would be... Where have I got? Where's my thing?
I'm hoping to be able to. Yeah, I'm hoping to be able to join you guys next week. And the
this
problem
space.
is, yeah. Ooh. I mean, your thing's kind of messing with it with your green screen.
Yeah,
but
it messes a little bit, but if I do this, you should see it. So,
you have to lift it up a little bit higher.
Nameplates, yeah, there you go.
Ooh,
Brick, a little bit of a wall over there,
nice.
you know, cool stuff. Put chariot on there, lovely jubbly. Chariot's wheel spikes stick out a little bit too much to put it on there nicely, so I'm going to have it so that the wheel spikes are carving through the wall. Easy solution, you know, just make it look more destructive then as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Would have to make the model look better just to accommodate the model.
I know, it's a shame.
Can't believe that.
I'm just waiting on, like, I want to get one prototype done first, like fully painted, but I'm waiting on an order for Firestorm.
Yeah,
I bought
I'm
like
also waiting on
45. They're waiting out of stock. I can go in and grab it. So I did call them. Hashtag not sponsored, but you know, Firestorm lads. They were like, "Oh yeah, we picked some of the stuff up. You can come grab it if you want because it's not shipped yet." And I was like, "Oh, you want to send the other stuff?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, we'll deliver the other stuff when it gets here." I was like, oh.
Because I ordered a good amount of paints. It was all in stock when I ordered it. It's all been picked. It just hasn't been shipped yet, and I ordered it Saturday.
It probably hasn't all been picked. I had an email saying, you know, all of this stuff has been picked. There's actually things that weren't in that list. They don't say they haven't been picked. They just aren't in the list.
Yeah.
Which I didn't realize.
I got an email saying that the Dark Angels book was picked already because they've got them in it already, and they're just waiting obviously until the Saturday to send them out. So yeah. But I may just call them and ask to just pick it up instead on just do it all Saturday because then I've got paints for when I do stuff on Tuesday. Yeah.
Oh, I completely forgot I ordered the Psychomancer. Oh. Yeah.
How
Good
could you
week.
forget about that?
Because I've just been building Stormcast.
You gone too
Yeah, I
build?
got. I spent 46. Wait, no. I spent 40 quid on basing stuff.
Why?
I might need to get some beta.
I haven't wanted to. Leave me alone.
I need to get some extra
I don't think I
beta
did.
stuff.
What? 40 quid? Yeah. I got lots of grass, lots of flowers, lots of like rocks.
Didn't you get one of the rollers as well, the Green Stuff World rollers?
No.
Nah, that's what I'm gonna probably pick up if I end up making a Dark Angels test model. I'm probably gonna get one of those.
I got foam sheets, so they're really thin. So at the moment, I've based 2 things. with just the offcuts that were in the packaging to keep from shaking.
Yeah.
And it's just for 10 quid now, and I've got this much.
Excuse me. Oh fuck.
Yeah, like 20 A4 sheets of foam.
Man, stacked.
Really good. Yeah, and you can carve them into pretty much anything. They're really good for bricks, basically. But
Yeah,
they're
those rollers are like a common one that people use as well. Like,
Oh,
just because we were talking about it before.
Yeah, this stock is really low at the moment though. So
No, that's completely understandable. Like everything's fucked. But in terms of nice things that are going on, shall we talk about some Total War? Because you guys we were already kind of talking about it preemptively, and then we'll go on to the meat of the video. Of the podcast, which is us screaming about why some units are better than others.
It's because they've got big bows. There you go. Right,
yeah, there you
Total
go.
War.
Done. Right, Total War. Let's talk about some Total War stuff. Yesterday, was it, that we actually got the announcement trailer? For a couple of days prior to that, we've had some teasers and some indications of they were doing a big announcement, Creative Assembly. The people who make Total War games, so obviously Total Warhammer 3 has been confirmed, announced, and is coming out inside of 2021, which I'm surprised about. I thought we'd probably get it very early next year, but it could also still be delayed. God knows what happens there.
I mean, I think for them to say it's coming out late this year means that, to me at least, means that without COVID, it might come out way earlier, right?
Oh, probably.
It could be
I think it's August, October, maybe.
I was expecting to see it at like the E3 of last year.
Yeah.
Announced at some point, but I assume it was just a case of let's not do that.
Yeah.
Let's just
That's just
Why bother? Why bother?
I mean,
kicked the USB drive out. Sorry.
As I'm pretty sure you all agree with, I'm pretty sure we're all fans of better to delay a game than announce a game that you're not even sure you're going to be able to finish on time.
Yeah, it's like
start for the case of people who think Elden Ring exists.
Oh yeah, I completely forget Elden Rings exist. We don't even know what it is. I bet it's going to be it's a SimCity style game where you place depressed zombies in a ring.
Souls.
Right.
Dark Souls
Souls
Skylines.
Yeah, Dark Souls traffic management.
That game you just made up there exists more than Elden Ring does. As far as I know. we know more about that fictional game you just mentioned than Elden Ring.
That's true. And
People
I
are
will
excited.
say, at least in terms of the Total War game, like, yeah, you know, they've announced it now. We've got a fucking bomb-ass trailer. And we've actually got some additional insights into the Old World project that GW are actually using. Because they said in a video on the Warhammer channel that they were working with Creative Assembly to give them a lot of assistance and a lot of extra assets and things like that for the Old World project, especially for Kislev. So, Kislev being the main introduction for it, but I'm assuming that they've been having that working relationship anyway.
Yeah, because Old World is specifically actually making Kislev as one of the main armies first.
It did have models originally, but they all went out of they all disappeared in like 6th edition fantasy.
Yeah, but that's the stuff that they've shown.
Yeah,
has been it's been Kislev.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's the thing. It's like, oh yeah, you know, working together. But I think it's a nice thing because that means, at least in terms of the Old World stuff, we're gonna probably get a Cathay model line. We can make some assumptions from that.
Get some fucking bear cavalry.
Bear cavalry actually having Cathay models of... Well, we'll go into the specifics. So, Total War, Warhammer 3 confirmed with all 4 Chaos Gods. Finally.
Yep.
Evan has been creaming himself for days now.
Oh, the second in that trailer that I saw the Greater Demons, I was like, oh my god, they look incredible.
They look amazing.
Horrible Greater Clean One's mouth. Oh my god, his mouth.
Yeah.
It's actually disgusting, which is brilliant.
Yeah,
exactly.
Going into the Nurgle mouth made me physically feel ill. It was amazing.
As it should do.
Authentic.
But yeah, we had the 4 Chaos Gods. Finally, no more Chaos Undivided. And we're going to have each of their factions being somewhat different and unique. Also they have confirmed that there will be no diplomacy with Chaos Demons, but they will have their own main features that will kind of interact with factions in a different way. Most likely some sort of corruption or conversion or something like that. Summonings and whatever.
Schemes.
We have also finally
sacrifices.
Kislev, the one fucking settlement in the north of the Empire, has a surprising amount of lore and is now its own faction.
Everyone's got made.
the Ice Queen is taking the field with a. Yes, they are Empire, but they're also like quite independent of the Empire.
Yeah.
So mainly because of the fact that the Ice Queen is not an elector. She wasn't an elector. She is just kind of doing her own thing. But if you're a fan of Polish, Hungarian, Russian-inspired humans, bear cavalry, winged hussars, ice magic out the ass,
I
then
love the idea
Kislev's
of
for you.
Winged hussars through like a snowstorm.
That's fucking sick, though. I love that.
Just
aesthetic.
to clarify, though, I'm a bit wrong. They're not part of the Empire at all, Kislev, right?
No,
I don't think they are. They're still they're humans, and they are.
Yeah.
They're like they're not a vassal. They're like kind of Empire, but kind of not. They have a very weird relationship.
I guess
They're just allies, aren't they?
Yeah.
I guess that this Kislev is because you've got the big the world spine down the middle of the map,
Yeah.
or the right hand side of the map for the case of how the game currently is, right?
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure this is the other side of that.
Yeah.
So I assume the north bit will be Kislev, and then you have Cathay underneath it.
Yeah, and you've also obviously got the Chaos Waste linking into that. And the other main thing, which I was quite surprised about.
Just to tell you, I think Kislev is literally what we see now. I don't think there's much more than that.
I think it's them mixing with some Empire units as well.
Directly above we've got Norska, and then directly east is just Chaos Waste.
Yeah.
Right.
They're gonna have some sort of like main interaction.
Right. There'll be a different map.
Yeah, but they did say that
differently.
They did say as well, like it's gonna be kind of weirdly shaped, especially where Kislev is.
Yeah, it'll be bigger.
But it does kind of link around. And also, we've all got the Dragon Empire of Cathay, which were. I completely forgot. I didn't even know these guys existed, but I looked it up, and they do exist, and it is the human weeb culture.
It's human China.
Human China.
As
And
opposed to alien orc China.
I know zero about them. They were not explored in a lot of lore past, like anything towards the end of Warhammer Fantasy. They were just not mentioned.
Huge.
Yeah, they're a huge empire, but know nothing about them. They're not involved in the end times whatsoever. They were most likely written off at a point and just say, no, they're just empire now. They were probably written off at some point during the lore, but it is good to see now with them going back to doing the old world lore that GW are recognizing they exists. And my assumption is because they're making him a big faction in a game about the old world, and the old world project will at some point come out, I can probably assume that Cathay will get some sort of release in terms of a model line. Again, these are all going to be from Forge World specifically, so that's going to take fucking years.
I feel like if Cathay, they're not. I don't think they got put into Empire. I'm pretty sure it's just it's the whole. They're that big that they're just like, we don't fucking deal with anything over there, right? What's the point? They're just gonna sit in a massive nation because they're fucking huge.
You've got the old world and whatever the other bit of the world is.
Lustria.
Lustria. That's the setting of Warhammer. Everything east does not exist.
Apart from the ogres.
Yeah, but they only exist when they come over here, right?
Yeah, exactly. But that's what I'm. The thing is, I was so expecting, and I've been calling this for ages, that Warhammer 3 would have the Chaos Gods, and it would be something to do with the end times. I have a feeling now, after this trailer, because of the fact it's just like, yes, now we get all the demons, we got all that shit. The end times is not going to be far away, and I'm assuming it's going to be a big expansion because it messed with all the existing factions, plus Nagash will turn up.
And end times is going to be the Mortal Empires of 3.
Probably.
It's gonna be...
But then we'd also
100%.
need... But Nagash is a big part of the end times, and we haven't had Nagash yet.
Yeah, but they'll do the same thing they do with now Total War, right? They'll release a small expansions and add all those big characters over time.
Yeah,
but
I don't know.
The old world map for that game will... I cannot see it being called anything other than the end times.
I don't think it's going to be end times.
The whole, if they were on about the game as a whole or just on release, but they have outright said there is no end time models in this game. Like there's no big Nagash. There's no big.
Not currently.
Was Alariel in there? Or was that just Age of Sigmar?
Just Age of Sigmar for Alariel.
None of the big versions of the Sigmar version.
Yeah, because during the end times,
Vermin Lords. None of that.
There's no Khorne Bloodborne. There's no Blight Lord. Nurgle Boys.
Yeah,
So,
which I find was kind of odd. I hope that gets added later because it would be, you know, it is obviously the end times was the end, and we've had a lot of games exploring that now, especially with the Vermintide series, exploring a lot of the end times, and I think not having that giant Nagash, Thanaquil, and Bone Ripper, all of your kind of favorite generals and leaders becoming avatars of
people
the
hate
magical
the end
realms.
times, though, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say people don't
The
like
end times, I will say, people hated the rules. The lore was super cool in most cases. There were some things which were very weird, like for example, Sigvald being completely just destroyed by Throg because he was such a fan favorite, and people were like, "Is that oh, I'm just gonna piss off this troll real fast because I'm mad." And the troll's just like, okay, rips him in half and just you know, throws him away Hulk style. Like that, people were really pissed off about. But the thing is there were the models that they brought out were very interesting, and having the ability to have, for example, Ungrim, Ungrim becoming the avatar of fire, and then sacrificing himself to make sure the rest of the Dwarven kingdoms could escape, like from a huge battle. Like, one, fulfilling his Slayer Oath, which is what we wanted, and two, it was such a satisfying end for that character. Balthazar Gelt becoming the full incarnate of the Realm of Metal would be super cool in terms of game mechanics as well later on. I think that, I am hoping, you know, at the end, obviously, with this, that will become the case. Like, the end times will happen in its own specific expansion of some sort, but what we have now is still going to be super cool.
The end times is so big they can't do an expansion.
Exactly.
It affects every single faction. It adds mechanics to every single faction. All that stuff. I think they'll call the big map end times. I don't think they'll add all the end time mechanics.
I feel like especially the way you guys are talking about it, I feel like the only way that they could do it is one of those. It's just another game expansions.
Yeah.
It'd have
where
to
you
be
go
number 4, right?
Yeah, it's one of those things where you go, oh, I'll get the expansion. Hold on a second, it costs the same amount as the full game. Why does it cost that much?
You mean Total Warhammer 2?
Game. Right. So yeah, it's
because the second one was just and this one is just an expansion for the second one, like, because it's like, oh, you get a specific map, and then everyone will just play Mortal Empires.
Well, actually, it's more of a second expansion of the first one because you just go in the other.
That's true. You're very correct there. You're very correct there.
Yeah, but we always do the 2-3 games.
Yeah, we always. Yeah, that's true. We did.
I hope that if Balthazar Gelt if they all get their cool, wow, we're super cool and, you know, sort of like spirits of things now. I hope Balthazar Gelt gets a debuff of any attack from behind gets increased damage by 500%.
I mean, to be fair, it'll be fun for the orc players
the whole
as well.
world.
Yeah, it'll be fun for the orc players as well because they get, you know, Grimgor being of the realm of beasts, and he was an absolute fucking powerhouse during the end times. So you know,
he still won't have a mount though. He'll still just be running around really slowly.
He doesn't need one. He's fine.
It's just funny because you can outrun him.
Outrunning an orc seems wrong to an extent, but you know.
I mean, torture to him.
Yeah, you're just rubbing it in his face. I mean, the extra things that were there's, from what people are saying, there are 2 factions that we're missing: the Chaos Dwarves and the Ogre Kingdoms. The Ogre Kingdoms themselves were a main faction in the old world. They did have a standard book. The Chaos Dwarves did not have a standard book. They were an expansion book, which was produced by Forge World. Whether that's high on the priority list or whether they're going to exist or not, I don't know. I'm looking forward to my Ogre Kingdoms. It would to be an expansion afterwards, similar to how the Wood Elves were involved. But it's just Warhammer. It's just Total Warhammer, and it's going to be fucking sick. Like, I don't think there's much else we can really. I mean, feel free to add to it as much as you can.
There's a place called the Skaven Wastes or Skaven something.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck, what's it called? There's a rat place. So there's rats.
Yeah. To have the Chinese rats.
Yeah.
They'll just be they'll just nick all the Cathay clothes, and just be rats with like Fu Manchu mustaches.
But, oh my god, I want that though.
I kind of want that.
Is their whiskers?
Wait,
like,
it is an army of Splinter, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
They're all Clan Eshin, they're all Splinter.
Clearly the clan Mulder, and they get turtles and they make them stronger.
He's
It's a mix. It's a mix. No. It's a mix. It's a mix because they get the turtles and they mutate the turtles and give them weapons.
Well, yeah, no, the turtles would just be Dragon Ogre Shoggoths that they've just managed to hijack.
It'd be Famir.
Oh yeah, Famir would probably... or Zotes.
Oh, God.
So,
Either
love
way.
those.
Oh,
so
John?
what's next on the docket?
In terms of podcast stuff or in terms of Total War stuff?
In terms of podcast stuff.
In terms of podcast stuff, yeah, we'll move on to the main thing because I think we're all fucking super excited for this. It's gonna be it's gonna be coming out at some point this year. I'm most likely assuming either late summer, early autumn. So you're more looking towards the other end of the year, similar to kind of the September area, like the other ones did. But hey, it's coming out. We're having a good time.
A campaign in this one.
Got to. But one thing we can talk about, because you know we're not playing Warhammer right now. Not many people are, but some people were. Because we had the LVNOpen, as they've called it. The LVNOpen, for people who may not know, is the spin-off hosted by the team that hosts the Las Vegas Open, the biggest Warhammer tournament in the world. And obviously, they can't host the event because pandemic permitting. So what they did do instead was decide, it's like, hey, why don't we just try and do a streamed thing and try and do the most online tournament we can? So it was a very, very weird kind of setup, but they got competitive Warhammer content creators and streamers and people of that variety to play. Like, each team that was taking part had 2 lists. They would fight against each other, then move up around, fight then against... like in an single elimination bracket, go up against different content creators, and eventually hit the end and go for a big final. GW didn't really they helped out with the event. They didn't do any big announcements, you know, because they're just not doing that now because of their content streams. But I think it would be. I
was gonna say, can I just correct you there? It wasn't that they were going up against other content creators. They were always just playing within house against the same people as always. The thing that was moving up in the ladder was the lists.
Not the players.
And not the players themselves. So if you won your game, for example, with your own list, great, that's a win. That list now moves on to whoever's playing the semi-finals out.
Oh shit, yeah. No, that's a fair point, actually.
Wait, so did you just like submit a bunch of lists and it just...
Well, no, so because it was all content
list.
creators, they all knew that they pretty much had all the models that they needed for every army.
Right.
So, for example, I think one of the ones that who was there? I think it was Tabletop Titans. They were super worried about one of their lists because it was Harlequins, and it was a very specific Harlequin list. And so they were like, "Cool, if it wins, I pass it off to someone who has no idea what they're doing with this, and they're gonna get wiped with it."
Yeah.
And that'll be the end of the run. But
Which
it'll be fun to watch.
I think there was a lot of main complaints with it. Yeah, there were some complaints because of that kind of thing, but considering of how closed the tournament was, of people who definitely knew each other.
It's also 100% not a competitive tournament, right?
It was specifically a competitive thing.
Okay,
but it was competitive light.
It's not like competitive in a way where it's a competition, I guess. It's more of a competitive
event. Vibe. Yeah, it's a vibe. Right? Yeah, it's a vibe. I think that's the best description. But I think what would be good is that we have a look at the 2 lists that made the final, and obviously the winner. And there's no point in saying, like, not saying this now because it's been out. This has already been known for a few days. The winning list was not Space Marines.
You still have power armor on though.
Yes, true. It was an Imperium combined force list made by Tank of Hellstorm Wargaming, which is a channel I very much like following. And I've seen Tank play on a few of battle reports, and he has gone to, you know, several LVOs and other tournaments. And he made I think the list that he made was very much like a good example of an all-comers list. But we'll have a look. The first one we will look at, though, that did make it to the finals, was from JT McDowell. I can't remember which channel he's from. But it was a Drukhari list.
Ooh.
So let's have a look. So I'm going to pull up on the web screen, but I will read it out because obviously it's white on white and it's hard to kind of read sometimes. But we've got, let's see. It was a Drukhari raiding force with the 3 patrols. So we had first patrol was a Cabal of the Black Heart with the Warlord in it. Warlord was an Archon with Labyrinthine Cunning and Writ of the Living Muse as a relic. Base attacks for Cabalite Warriors. Court of the Archon, 2 Medusae and Lamian. I have to open the door because the cat.
Just like the medium.
Yeah, 2 squads of min-sized Scourges, Ravagers with disintegrated cannons, and that was the first one. Second one was the Technomancer Mutagens. What's the... Not Cabal, it's...
Homunculus Coven.
Yeah, the Coven,
yeah.
Yep.
So that was the second patrol.
Bastards.
With a Homunculus, with a Relic and a trait. Which is the trait, I think, that was from Blood of the Phoenix, or whatever it's called. With 3 squads of min-sized Rats, 2 5-man squads of Mandrakes, and 3 Venoms. And the last one, which is another Coven.
Yeah.
Which is another Homunculus, 2 min-sized squads of Racks, 2 Reapers, 2 Venoms, and then 2 Stratagems Blaze, which is to give the relic and the trait to one of the Homunculuses. And that capped out at total points, 2,000 points with 10 command points available to spend in-game. So, let's break down this list. Go for it, John.
Well, can I start off by saying, love the Reaper model. Think it's a real fun thing to put on the table.
Mm-hmm.
It's very, very big dick energy. I just don't like the gun. I just don't think it does enough.
What is the gun on it?
Yeah.
What is it?
That's
Disintegration
the
cannon?
Probably.
I believe so. Cannot remember.
Because the Ravager has the disintegration cannon.
Yeah, they're great.
And it's got 3 of them on it.
Sorry, it keeps showing me Dark Reapers and it's the wrong elf.
Do you want me to send you the list?
Storm Vortex Projector. That's what it's got.
What does it do, Alex?
It is basically it's like a prismatic heat weapon, so it has blast or beam. So it's either heavy 2d6, strength 6, AP 1 damage of blast, or it's heavy d6 with strength 8, AP 4, d3 plus 3 damage.
Okay.
Good.
That's pretty good. It's a better Onager. With that second
They
profile.
cost 170 points.
Yeah.
I see.
You've
My
got 2 of
issue with
them.
it being, for less points, you could get a Ravager, which I would argue does more damage.
Well,
Okay.
probably. I think it's for the 2d6 shots. Blast. I think it's why it's there because blast is actually quite good.
Especially, like, depending on... As an all-comers kind of list, you've got one big... you've got your... What's it called? Your Ravager, which you can hide and try and protect as much as possible, which is your main big anti-tank gun.
Do they have fiber-bin ones, the smaller ones?
The Reapers.
The Reapers, yeah. And the Raiders. Because the Reaper does.
Ravager.
The Ravager and the Raider, I don't know.
The Venom does.
Yeah, they all do.
I think they also do. Oh, hello. I'm surrounded by cats now. I mean,
I
to
do
be
like
fair...
the Powerblade, though.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's with this
the
as
size of it?
well...
It's just the same. It's just a different Ravager, isn't it, really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a
It's
slight...
good.
It's just
I
got,
think
it's
it's
got a
good.
big knife and a big cannon on the front.
Yeah, no, I will say the aesthetic of it is great. It is, as I said, very strong energy.
Is it one of the... Is that a Forge World model, or is it one of the actual just normal
Yes.
in the codex?
It's a
Forge
Forge
World.
World upgrade
Right.
kit.
Right, okay. Right, because that's why I couldn't remember why it exists. I'm like, why do I know of it, but I've never seen one, and now I know why.
I think it would be really, really cool if you could, like, because it's got 5 attacks, and its attacks do degrade, but you could only do 1 attack with the Proudblade.
Yeah, I want you to be able to do all the attacks with the Proudblade.
If you could do 5 attacks at strength 6 -1, 2 damage, that would be awesome.
That would be
Instead,
pretty sick.
it's just 1.
But then
that's
that
sort
would
of
definitely
four
make
minus
its
one.
points go way up if that was
Not
the case.
really.
I think
I
it'd
mean,
be probably
it's
like
so
200
fragile
points.
that putting it in that situation would be so risky.
Yeah, it's got a 4-up save, and it's T6.
That's true. Because it is
Yeah,
one of
it's
the
quick,
Eldar
but-
vehicles.
I will say, of the Forge World models, nothing to do with the stats. I just prefer the Tauntless model.
Yeah.
That's great.
It's just double the boat.
Boat. That's the thing. It's like, how much boat do you want? I want a
But in
lot of
terms-
boat.
But in terms of the rest of the list,
It's the most minimum-sized troops. Like, cutting the most minimum amount of troops that you can possibly have. Apart from Racks. Now, Racks, if I believe, they're the ones with wings?
No.
No,
What am I thinking of with Racks?
no.
weird
Scorches.
Scourges, that's the one.
weird men who are muscular with the hooks and stuff.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
the homunculus troops, right?
Because there's only one there's only one minimum size squad, so 5 Capitalite warriors, and that is it. And then everything else in terms of troop choices and objective secured is all Racks. So I'm curious why that's the case.
Cheaper.
Yeah, because
They're
Because
actually
they're
more
tough.
expensive.
Yeah,
they're
they're
5
tougher
points more.
than any homunculus.
the main thing the reason you're taking the Rex, is to grab an objective, maybe do some damage with the hex rifle. That's it. That's all you need them for. There's no.
Yeah, I
You're not-
guess because
You're
you're
not
putting them in
bringing them to
venoms as
hit
well.
hard. You're not bringing them to really blob up an enemy. You're just bringing them to hold an objective, maybe get some damage with the hex rifle.
Yeah.
It's also
Yeah, they're
you,
gonna-
have to,
so-
you have to take them. You haven't got another troop choice. Because you're
Yeah.
taking homunculus covens, they have to be homunculus coven troops.
Yeah.
Yep.
But
They're
I
the
guess,
only
you know,
one.
you stick them all in a venom, you know, that gives them a little bit of, obviously, maneuverability and survivability. And those Cabalite warriors are probably sitting in that Ravager because I think it still has a transport capacity.
A
Ravager
Ravager
does.
does. Wait, doesn't it?
Though I know the Raider definitely does, but I don't know if the Ravager is, like, has, like, a smaller capacity.
It's basically only Space Marine stuff where they can be
That-
like, hey, we're going to put a bigger gun on this, but it also still has troop capacity.
Okay, right.
Not an
okay.
orcs, actually.
That's true.
Wait, the homunculus have to buy all of the. Like, they don't come with guns.
Well, the Racks.
Racks, yeah. Not melee.
They only take one gun.
Yeah.
It's the sergeant.
Very odd.
I mean, to be fair, you're more kind of relying on your... Again, you got your... Yeah, you got the Reapers, you got your Venoms, which have got splinter cannons, so they're obviously
Oh
gonna
yeah,
do some
Venom's the
damage.
same.
Your Mandrakes and the Scourges are mostly just kind of looks like to be harasser units as well. I mean, the
Mandrake
Scourges
assault
definitely
players.
so, but the Mandrakes I'm pretty sure are like melee units, aren't they, as well?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Green Sword Boys. They're from the Mandrake dimension.
The Mandrake.
I
What?
love the Mandrake dimension.
Yeah, it's
I
how
hate
Vex-
that phrase.
It's how Vex survives the stuff that happens in Gathering Storm events. Yeah, they go hide and teleport to the Mandrake dimension.
As a note, the reason that they take the hex rifle on
Mhm.
all of their things, 36-inch, heavy 1, strength 4, AP -1, 1 damage, whatever. Each time you select a target with this weapon, you ignore the lookout server rule. Each time you roll a wound roll of a 6+ with this weapon, the target suffers a mortal wound on top.
Ooh, it's a sniper rifle.
It's a little sniper rifle, but hey, they've got how many of them in here? They've at least got 3 of them in here.
That's in the racks, right?
Oh, there's
Yeah,
5.
on the racks.
There's 5 hex
Yeah.
rifles.
5
They
hex
have-
rifles.
They
So there you
have
go.
threes as well.
Statistically, yeah, that's getting you at least a mortal wound pretty much every turn.
Which is not a bad, especially because of how fast your list is. It's pretty much just harassing anything that's coming towards any of the objectives you're sitting on. And we
That and
obviously don't
also-
know. We can't tell what primaries they've taken, what secondaries they've taken with this list, of course.
I mean,
it's
you
not
absolutely
chosen...
would take assassinate, right?
Oh, probably.
With lists this fast, why wouldn't you? Like, you can so easily get into a position where you can target their HQs.
Engage on all fronts as well is a very easy take.
Yep.
because you are just, as they say, you are just that fast.
Yeah, they are. Well, because they've got such, like, in this list, they got incredible range power and incredible maneuverability.
It's
Like-
racking up at least as many secondary points as you can before you're probably shot off the board. To an extent.
But I think with the ranged power, if they can get enough shots and enough decent shooting turns, I think they'd be able to outgun most lists. I mean, clearly they did. They managed to get, what, second place?
Yeah, second place. One thing I do want to just kind of bring up as well, I think maybe talking about the warlord traits and the relics as well is probably something we should probably mention, because obviously that's a core part of the list. The Archon one for Labyrinthine Cunning, I'm pretty sure is the one that allows you to get command points back up on a 5.
Sounds like it.
Sounds something like that. And the Writ of the Living Muse, I've no clue, obviously. I don't have a Drukhari book.
So, Writ of the Living Muse, reroll wound rolls of 1 for friendly Cabal of the Blackheart units within 6 inch of the bearer.
That's not bad, because it's just units.
It's a 6-inch bubble of reroll 1s to wound.
That means your Ravager most likely is getting that reroll 1s.
Yeah.
For 3 disintegrated cannons, it's pretty huge. Like.
And how many Ravagers did they have in the Blackheart thing?
Just the 1.
No, I'm looking at the wrong list then.
Yeah, it's just the 1.
Oh, weird that you're looking at the pastebin thing. I'm on the Las LVNOpen website, like
Can
their
you
official
send me
site.
that link? Because I don't have that currently.
Literally LasVegasNopen.net. 1 second. I'll even paste it in the Discord, and that way you take it straight to the list.
Ah, there it is. I found it.
Yep, and then on the section it says the lists. You can scroll down.
Yeah, JT McDowell. Let's have a look. Oh, there are 2 Ravagers. Okay, so that pastebin is wrong. Never mind. Ignore that. Yeah, 2 Ravagers, 2 Scourges, 2 sets of Mandrakes, Larmian, and 2 Medusae. Plus with Writ of the Living Muse. So, okay, yeah, with 2 Ravagers, that makes way more fucking sense.
Yeah, so you sit your warlord in between those. And every time you're shooting, it's 6 shots, hitting on 3s, wounding most things on 3s or 2s, and re-rolling 1s.
It's kind of scary, and most likely as well. D6 damage, most likely. I don't think it will got buffed higher than that until their codex comes out. But then as well, if you're thinking about it, you got 10 command points to mess around with 2.
Oh wait, no, they had disintegrated cannons. Ignore everything I was just saying.
Yeah, but the
it's actually 9 shots per ship.
Oh jeez.
Strength 5, AP -3, 2 damage.
Woof, that's
So 18 shots at those stats.
Those are pretty good Marine killers.
Oh yeah.
So that's the thing. You've got 10 he had 10 command points to play with as well. Like, you got enough things for fire and fade whenever you want to. There are most likely, especially for like the homunculus and boosting for your, if you've got the not the mandrakes. If you've got the what's the racks? This is different because it had the not the mandrakes. It was the homunculus. Like the scourges are. The scourge is still there. I thought that was like a melee homunculus unit. Oh no, I guess to be fair, the racks obviously. If they ever get charged in combat and if they can charge in, give them that extra benefit. And I think a lot of, especially if you're thinking about doing competitive play, you need to think, regardless of your army, what you can do to respond to pretty much everything.
Yeah.
This list is probably not active in the psychic phase.
Well,
I wouldn't think. But
I don't think Dark Elder have any psychics.
No,
right?
They have anti-psychic stuff, don't they?
Well, part of their lore was that when they got mind shattered, they lost all their psychics.
No, it's not.
Thought it was.
They specifically don't do psychics.
They don't do psychics because they live in Comera, which is in the webway. and doing psychic stuff there is super risky because Slanesh. Also, the way because they still live their they still live in excess. So if they did do any psychics, which they literally hurt themselves to suppress, they would basically be like beacons for Slanesh.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
They've got spikes on the inside of their armor pointing into their own flesh, so they,
That's fair.
It's why in bottom of Comrade there's basically a lid, and in Gathering Storm when Rain goes fucking ham and basically incinerates everyone who can see her, because she dies and stuff. The bottle cap of the bottom of Comrade bursts open and it gets filled with demons, and that's why bad stuff happens. But they have literally no psychics.
No, but they most likely, I would think, have anti-psychic stuff available to them.
I think they might have some in the Homunculus Covenants, but I don't think it's much.
Yeah.
I think it's almost nothing, I might be right.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's, if not nothing, then next to it.
Mm-hmm.
They've got Necron syndrome.
Gotta have Necron syndrome.
Psychic powers just happen and you have to accept it.
Yeah. I mean, that's fair, but again, it's making sure that you're trying to be as active in every phase as much as possible, if you can be. And if you can't be, what can you do to counter the other person in those phases? So obviously,
and if
if
you've got the unfortunate problem of playing Tau, you just have to be so overwhelmingly in the shooting phase that it doesn't matter that you get completely bodied in all other phases.
That's true. It sucks to be Tau right now. So yeah, just kind of looking at the spread of the list. So we have Sisters, the Custodes list, Harlequins, Blood Angels, the Drukhari, Marines, Grey Knights, Orcs, Chaos Space Marines, a Demons list, a Necrod list, Salamanders, Straight Chaos, Blood Angels, and then obviously Tank with his Imperium. Is there anything we want to add to the because that's a fairly even spread, but there are some armies that just won't be here. There's not going to be any Tyranids. There's not going to be any Tau. Not until they get their books, because they need to be completely reworked. And God, we're praying for when that's the case. Is there anything anyone? Oh God, yeah. Is there anything anyone wants to add to the Drukhari stuff?
Drukhari, cool.
No, I really like the idea of the list. And yeah, definitely hope they get better.
I feel like I'm surprised that they did so well. I think a lot of it is these aren't necessarily this isn't a very good showcase of super competitive lists, right? Because it's can you play this list if you're not used to it? I guess if that makes sense. Because how much?
What's the most accessible list, really?
Yeah, it's what's most accessible.
To be
and
fair,
I can see Drukhari makes sense because it's really straightforward. You have a lot of shots that are all pretty much quite similar. Shoot everything. Go ham. Just shoot.
And
you're fast.
Plus, I would like to a side note as well is we can look at this list now. We can take this exact same list when the Drukhari book comes out to see how much the stats for it will change.
Well, here's the thing. I think.
Oh, excuse me.
Sorry, I was going to say, I think a major thing is that the layout of the list is going to change. For example, this taking the multiple patrols. I think that's going to change.
No, it's definitely changed.
Because they've confirmed
that. They've confirmed it. They've just gone, it was stupid, it doesn't work.
But it is cool. But now, obviously, we're trying to make it work. It'll be interesting to see if you were to try to do this list in that kind of way. How does that work? I just realized the music's been on this entire time. So that's fun, but it's just been lo-fi in the background, and it's all non-copyright, so we're good. Well, I think now, as we pause the music to go to the sudden change of let's look at Tank's Imperium list, because this is at least the first kind of main example of souping I've seen in 9th edition. Obviously, because books not everyone's book has come out. And the encouragement to try and soup less.
What's the ingredients in this soup?
Yeah, so in this soup, we've got a Sisters Battalion and a Custodes Patrol. So, in the Sisters Battalion, it is a Bloody Rose Battalion with a Canoness and a Missionary. 3 Battle Sister squads, all standard, so no upgrades, just bolt guns and bolt pistols. 2 squads of Death Occult's assassins in the elite slot, and 2 8-person squad of Repentia.
Oh, they're all women.
I know, but I just want to make sure to be, you know, gender neutral.
Death Cult aren't.
Death Cult, I think, are actually. Oh, no, I think there are women in it, but you know.
The models are women. Well,
Yeah.
sorry. Oh no, there's 2. There might be 2.
Models being a stretch. No, yeah, there's 2 models. They come in a
They
pack
come in
of
a
2.
pair. Yeah, it's only a pack
Yeah.
of 2. And then in the heavy supports we have 3 Retributed squads, 2 Armorium Cherubs, 2 Retributors with bolt guns, bolt pistols, frag grenades, the Superior with the bolt pistol, bolt gun, and then 2 Multi-Melters. And they are 3 squads of the same.
Oh, okay. I guess
So
that
not
is
full,
technically...
yeah, not full Multi-Melter squads, just 2 Multi-Melters in each.
I think the idea is to use them as if there is 4. Because they're not going to last long enough for there to be more than that. So you go forward.
You've got negatable wounds. Not negatable wounds. You've got pass-over wounds. You take off the normal ones before you get to the multi-melters.
The point is you're paying for 2 multi-melters, but you're using 4 multi-melters because you've got the cherubs.
Right, I see.
And then at that point, the sisters are probably dead.
Yeah. And then 2 rhinos to go with it. Fairly standard. And then the patrol. It's nice to see this one because this was the Custodes faction I was very much looking at for my own, if I got one, which is a Shadowkeeper's Shield Host. For this patrol, it has got Open the Vaults for an extra relic. It has got Captain General Trajan Valoris in there. It's got a Shield Captain on Dawn Eagle Jet Bike as obviously the standard beat stick of the Custodes list. Fuck Smash Captains, it's all about Shield Captains, my boy. With everything on it. Giving them the Captain Commander, so he gets probably the Shadow Keeper's specific like special upgrade, because with Captain Commander you get like, not a Warlord trait, but you get like a new ability for a CP.
Right.
Hurricane Bolters, Indomitable Constitution, which is from the Captain Commander. Misericordia, obviously, with the Superior Creation Warlord trait. And also the 10,000 Heroes, so an extra Warlord trait has been spent on that. And then 2 5-man Custodian Guard squads with Storm Shields, because they didn't get changed. They've still got a 3-up invuln. It's a 2-up save, 3-up invuln. They didn't get the +1 to their invuln, they just got a flat 3-up.
No, they got 4-up invulns, but they get +1 anyway, so it goes to 3-up.
Oh right, okay. Because I thought when I originally thought, it's like, oh wait, no, they still got their standard invuln, don't they? That hasn't been changed.
No, they have the new Storm Shield, so they actually get +1 save as well.
Oh, okay, so yeah, 2-up save.
So they basically,
invuln.
yeah, it's really good.
Which is pretty nuts.
I was gonna say, just like when you scrolled down, I saw Patrol of Custodians. I was like, okay, so it's like it is a sisters list with like a couple of Custodes, and then I looked at
like
the points,
backline
and
Custodes.
it's literally 900 points of Custodes. With
I mean,
like 10
yeah,
guys,
and I want to point out the Dawn Eagle Jet Bike is 178 points. You're paying 275 points.
Capped at 200.
Yeah, the Custodian Guards are 275 for the first squad, and then 260 for the second.
I wouldn't call this soup though.
It's as he said, it's an Imperium list.
Yeah, it's a split sisters Custodian list.
Yeah. Like
It's
soup is when you
pretty
start
even
like
split, yeah.
soup was bad because it was like you could take 2 units from this faction, 1 unit from this faction, 1 from here, and it was a good thing to do. That's why soup was shit, right? Like it was awful. Not only is this reasonable, Custodes fighting with sisters makes perfect sense. Yeah, of course.
It's a really nice list. Like,
it's a really nice.
Yeah.
It's a cool list.
Yeah, and plus,
I like the
you've got a good
4
amount of
Death Cult
tricks to it too.
assassins.
Yeah, so what do they do? I saw those, and I had to
Right.
Google what they were.
Every single list in 9th edition needs an actions unit. Those are the actions unit. They walk forward, and the 2 of them plant a banner down together. That's all they do, and then they die. Yeah. If you're shooting at them, you're just overcommitting weapons at them, probably.
Right,
It
okay.
is-
Carry on talking. I need to
Kill
sort
them.
that out.
Kill
That's
them all in
smart.
2 actions. Literally every army's doing this now. So stuff like Death Wing for Dark Angels, you're already seeing people go, command squads are a bit dumb, because you just take 2 of them with Thunderhammer Storm Shields and they just walk onto an objective and put a banner down, and they're like, come on, come at me.
That's smart.
So
You need them in 9th armies.
Their cheapest chips, they're 13 points, they've got a 7-inch move, and they've got a 5-up invuln. So
26 points for the full unit.
So technically they're elites, but they don't take up any elite slots because they have a priest. They've got a missionary.
But even then, like, you're spending 26 points for something that's probably going to score you more points than your other unit.
Yeah.
Which is funny, because like stuff like Orcs for John, you could take 5 commandos and they do the same job.
Yeah, no, that's really common.
Tyranids are actually using lictors now. Lictors
so
are god awful, but they're
That's
so
so
cheap,
funny.
and they
That
can
is kind of
infiltrate.
surprising.
A lictor will literally pop out of a bush randomly and put a flag down. You're like, what's he doing? I don't understand. Why has that lictor got a flag?
It's a pretty sick flag, though.
That is 9th edition Tyranids. You take as many gaunts as you possibly can and 3 lictors. That's it.
The 3 lictors with the ball-bearing Union Jacks, you know.
That's all you need.
Planting
they
them
just
down.
at the beginning of the first round of the game, they just sit in a bush with their crayons.
They draw the flag, yeah.
They
and
draw.
Look at my flag.
Yeah, draw a
Funnily
flag and a piece
enough-
of paper.
Funnily enough, Deathcult Assassins, like, despite there only being 2 of them, these could kill a character and just kill him.
Well, I
They've
mean,
got
it
4
is the
attacks.
death cult, you know.
They've got 4 attacks each at strength 4 with power swords.
It's possible.
For 13 points.
What's the point though, right? It's
Yeah.
you get a good cheap unit. If
They
you
don't
can.
fuck about. Like, you could lose an entire unit of guardsmen to these.
Damn.
And plus,
What's
doesn't the
their-
missionary
what's
buff
their
attacks
save?
or something?
They've got a 5-up invuln.
Alright.
They also have zealots, so they reroll all of their hits,
Oh, right, yeah, that's what I was waiting for.
and they hit on 3s.
Doesn't the missionary buff how many attacks they have as well, or is that something else?
They get +1, but the missionary is not there for that.
Okay. So, wait, so that means they have 10 attacks then, between the 2 of them? Or would that 4 attacks including the +1?
If the missionary is there, it would be 10, yes.
Okay. So that's the thing, is like, you know, it's somehow a missionary, or like something deep strikes and they need to try and they need to charge it, and the missionary is still within range.
The missionary goes with the Repentia, though.
So,
Right.
so here's the thing. You were saying earlier that, you know, attacking these is kind of a waste of your shooting or a waste of your attacks or whatever. But if you don't kill them, because they are easy to kill, you're giving away free, like, it was effectively free kills, because these things can actually hit.
Yeah.
So
They're
you
pretty
have
quick.
to overcommit damage to them so that they don't hurt you.
Yeah, depending on what weapons you've got, right? Like, if you're up against Groms, they're gonna go and fight, like, a Tesla carbine at them, right? And they'll just both die.
I
Yeah,
guess
but
because they are, if
you've
they
got
are
Marines,
action units as well.
Vulcans are quite, like, a reasonable weapon to not to want to waste shots with.
yeah.
Especially with, like, depending on doctrine as well. But considering as well, again, they're 2 very small units, very small models as well. You sticking them somewhere specifically just to do actions, as Evan was saying. You're most likely only going to be able to see them if you can get deep into the enemy deployment. You know, because they're
God,
most
and
likely
also-
sitting on objective, doing scramblers or raising a banner or something like that, out of view of pretty much everything else in your list against them. You know.
I wonder how many
Yeah.
times through that tournament someone said, "Oh, and you're sat on 2 objectives." Oh no, I'm sat on 3. There's those 2 over there you can't see.
Yeah.
I wonder how many times
Very
that
shitty
happened.
metal models like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, just and the opponent's going, "Oh, fuck's sake! Yeah, there's 2 models hidden inside a building that I can't see from my side of the table."
Yeah, they're kind of gross models.
That's nasty.
And I would assume as well, there's a lot of ways that, because they've added these they've added these like little charts of like ranged power, close quarters, and they're saying durability for these guys is high. Obviously, you've got 2
Literally
large.
just the
It's just the
custodians.
custodies, yeah.
Literally just them.
But even then, like, you know, you've got rhinos that are, you know, they're 80 points, which are still decent, especially with pop smoke.
It's worth noting that they only take 2 because then it doesn't make people take the secondary objective of killing vehicles.
Yeah, bring it down.
Yeah.
And this would be post that change, but they're still
But either way, it's still not worth taking it for 2 rhinos.
Yeah, no, that's fair. It's a waste of a secondary when you can do things on other things.
Yep.
But that shield captain, that's scary, and I think Trajan Valorous only gives you CP back if he's your warlord. But I cannot remember off the top of my head.
Probably.
But a nice thing that you do get, obviously, with having Custodes, and if your Custodian Guard are your frontline beatstick, they have these Tanglefoot stratagem. So if you want to charge them for any reason, Tanglefoot, you are halved your charge. And it's a very easy stratagem to use, and Trajan Valorous, even without him being the warlord, basically allows you to just spend a stratagem for free. You get to pick, like, a stratagem and you get to do it for free, regardless of cost. So you got a lot of utility with just having him being there. Yes, he's almost 200 points by himself, but he's fucking worth it. And it's one of the reasons, especially just looking at the Custodes, a lot of their lists can sometimes be very samey, but that same list will have many different ways to play it, depending on who you're going up against. They are one of the most flexible armies without having to swap units out. As weird as that sounds. If you know what I mean. Because, like, the Wealth of Stratagems, like, now they can actually have command points to use their stratagems. Their Forge World, their Dreadnoughts are fucking amazing. I love them and I want them. Your Terminators are super good. You can just have tiny squads. You can have big squads of Custodes wandering around. How you actually manipulate the board. Like, they have a lot of board presence just by having a 3-man squad, or just a minimum. So it's... I think just looking at that, and this obviously being a 50-50, it is a true 50-50 because both sides of that coin, both sides of this list, have got so many options.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's loads.
I do think this also comes into what we were saying earlier about how easy is the list to pick up. Because this list has so many options, you can't play it wrong. Like, you can't go into it. There's no way that you can go into it and go, oh, I don't know what I'm doing here.
I will say that Sisters half of that list just disappears if you shoot at it.
Yeah.
And then
so you need to know positioning, but...
You're left with half an army of Custodes.
1,000 points of Custodes, and how much can they do depending on the weight of fire?
And I think Custodes could be kind of tricky to play, especially if you've only got the one bike.
Yeah, because it's just a character killer. Like, you make sure he's out of sight.
If these were
because these are bloody Rose.
I thought I read it as it was Order of Our Martyred Lady earlier, which I was very confused by because there was Repentia in the list. I was like, okay, well, if you got Repentia, why not have it be Bloody Rose? But it's Bloody Rose because
Repentia.
Of course it is. Yeah, Repentia will kill anything they touch. Absolutely any and everything.
Can they get in a Rhino?
You stick 8 in a Rhino. You put the Canoness in there, and you put the Missionary in there, and you keep those 2 Rhinos together. I think.
Yeah.
I don't
because they're
know.
still dealing with. They've still got the old Rhino rule of being able to just move and then pop smoke.
And then alternatively, you put Retributors in the Rhinos instead.
And plus, that's a choice at the beginning of the game as well.
You don't really put Retributors in the Rhinos because they have 36-inch melter range.
Yeah, you can outflank them, but that you've still depending on board, depending on mission, depending on army you're going up against. There's a lot of decisions that you're not making at the start, like when you've made the list. You're making them as you're deploying. As we keep saying, this is just a list of options. There are so many options here, and I think personally, and for anyone looking to get into competitive, to look at competitive 40k, you look at this list and understand what it's doing. If your army can do the same kind of thing, you can make a very competitive list, because this is a all-comers list. for sure. Absolutely.
Canoness should have the Bloody Rose relic. Just saying.
Which one's that? Or what's it called?
I think it's called Beneficence or something like that. But it's the chainsword. Like gives you +3 attacks, and it's like +3 -2 damage. And it's completely bonkers.
Yeah.
But it is a Canoness on a chainsword. Chainsword on a Canoness. You got to get stuck in.
Yeah, and I don't think you really want her to be. She's got...
No, this one is definitely not that kind of Canoness. But
yeah, she's a supporting one.
Then you simply put the other Canoness in.
So I think one thing, just to kind of, extend what we were talking about, because we haven't been actually talking about stuff for very long, and I've lost the timer because for some bizarre reason,
1 hour and 4 seconds.
Yeah,
4 minutes.
We got another 4 minutes left?
No, that's how long we've been.
We've been on for 1 hour and 4 minutes.
Okay, so yeah, we've still got time. I think what would be a good thing to look at now.
Show me the Necron list.
Oh yeah, so we can have a look at if anyone wants to have a look at a particular list, we can have a look at it. But yeah, one thing I want to add in, as we kind of talk about, why I hate, sorry, my OBS is balked out because it's bad. Like the top bar's just gone missing. Okay. One thing I think we should definitely try and have a discussion about is in terms of the armies that we have currently, what a competitive list, not necessarily going to super specifics, but just what a competitive list would look like if we were designing one. If we wanted to have a look at one. So, because Evan's competitively minded, Alex is very good at picking up trends within codexes, George has got very much a source material of the codex that he has. He knows a lot of the tricks with. I have no idea. Yeah, me and John are just here. And I'm I'd like to play Tempestus at a GT. Like, that's me.
I've got a new codex and I don't know what it does because I've not played it.
Yeah.
And by new, I mean it's almost half a year old.
Okay, for some reason, also, I want to point out, 2 of the cams are frozen.
Oh no.
The George cam and the Alex cam. And
I have. I've already hit a pose. Just like, actually, I think today I will buy this.
I've not frozen on the stream. John. Oh, John,
yeah,
not me.
John has. Yeah.
Evan's also frozen.
Oh no.
Funny jokes. Funny.
Okay, right. I've reset. I'm just resetting them now. But carry on. So yeah, let's find this Necron list, and George, you can take the lead on it. So
I assume
it's Richard Siegler from. I think he's one of the Goonhammer players. It says Art of War.
It says Goonhammer at the bottom.
Yeah, let me look at
the Silver Tide.
So just to note, they got into the quarterfinals of this list.
Yeah, I'm expecting it to be lots of crowns. Where is it? There we go. So it is a Novak list, I think, for the most part. It is just a Novak list, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it is. It's got Cryptothralls, a Chronomancer, or 2 Chronomancers, which is funny because they don't exist yet. Veiled Darkness, lots of movement, good stuff.
That is a lot of warriors, huh?
It's really awkward to read it because it's like got a bunch of extra stuff and then it goes HQs. So the HQs actually it's 2 Chronomancers with Crypto Thralls because that takes up 1 slot.
Mm-hmm.
A Lord with a Voltaic Staff, Resurrection Orb, and the Inspiring Leader aura. And there's 60 Necron Warriors with Ghost Reapers.
Which is fun.
Another set of Crypto Thralls for the other Cryptek, I assume. 10 Sword and Bolt Lich Guard. 10 Scarabs in 2 separate squads of 5. And the Silent King. Which
Crypto Thralls an action unit, pretty much, then.
I would assume so.
Yeah, Crypto Thralls are their own unit.
No, they're good for actions.
Oh, yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, they probably are pretty good because it lets you still use your Cryptek. Yeah, actually, that's so good. I didn't think of that before. Yeah, that is really, really good because there are things that you want to be doing with that. But yeah,
This is a question as well that I have. Is like, why is it a patrol?
what's what patrol?
His the main part of the list is a patrol. I don't see why, because it's a Chronomancer and a Lord. Why not make it? And you've got 3 Necron warrior troops. Why not make it a battalion?
Nah,
Where's the
I guess obviously you don't need it.
The
Warlord's not in it. That's a fair, that's a good
Right.
point actually. I didn't clock that. They made. Is the Silent King the Warlord?
Yeah, he has to be.
Oh right,
Yeah.
yeah, because that's now a new thing. If you take something as Supreme Command, it has to be a Warlord.
I don't know.
He gives
Wait,
you,
is that the
gives you the
case?
he gives it is yes. He needs to, but he does give you the CP back for a patrol or a battalion.
Oh, there we go then. Well,
There is
yeah,
no
because
patrol.
that's going to be the trend now. Is that if you had anyone who would fit a Supreme Command detachment, so obviously, Gulliman,
Thematically.
Demon Primax, Magnus will have this too if you take him, and then the Silent King, and then anything else that we can think of. Gazcol, when the Orcs Codex will come out, will most likely be obviously he will
Oh,
be
yeah.
in this slot,
Absolutely
and he will have to be a Warlord because I think they made that a rule with him when he came out anyway. Is that he
Yeah,
has to
it
be
is.
a Warlord?
It is a.
He's the
'cause
biggest.
The biggest, yeah.
But yeah, so because I haven't looked at this. What it's so Chronomancer, Lord, 3 squads of 20 Necron warriors with Reaper, which is the short range 15-inch one.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the general gist of it is, I think you have your Chronomancers, put the 5-ups on the 2 squads of warriors.
Mhm.
The 3rd squad of warriors gets Veil of Darkness,
Yeah.
or the Sword and Board Lich Guard get Veil of Darkness,
Gives you options.
or you just walk them up the board.
Is that your cat again?
Yeah. What do you want? Where are you?
Why does your cat sound like that?
Because she's
Wow,
baby.
rude.
Because she's what?
Because she's baby.
She baby.
Yeah, the 2 Scarab Swarms, I'm pretty sure they can do actions and stuff, and they're very
Yeah.
they're
Yeah,
very
they can.
small and hard to hit, and they're
It's like
very, very
Nurgling
good.
bases as well. I don't think Nurglings can do actions though. But it's just there is the same kind of thing. They're a base with multiple wounds.
Yeah, they're just very good.
Is
in
it
general.
swarms kind of actions?
It might be.
Maybe.
Either way, Scarabs can hold objectives,
Mhm.
and in general, they're just kind of good.
Yeah. So, yeah, a theme that's across a lot of these lists is that, one, you have as many options as you can possibly get out of your codex, with a main kind of consistent theme. So, obviously, with this being no voxing, the Silver Tide is, you have a fuck ton of Necron warriors.
I
Right?
just realized the name of the list is Ophidians aren't real. I like to imagine that there's probably Ophidians in this list, but nobody had any of the models.
No, there would be if that was the case. I like the names because the Emperor's All Stars was Tank's one. Mikey's the main Hellstorm Mikey was Blood Braven Angel Guard of Religious Birds because he doesn't play Blood Angels, he plays Blood Ravens.
The Slanesh Demons one is called Beefcakes and Crab Cakes.
There's the Chaos Soup, the 3-headed Hydra, which has got Mortarion in it. And Magnus.
That's really fun.
It's got a Lord. Oh no, that's what it is. It's a Lord of Change. It's Mortarion and Magnus.
That's really fun.
And Mortarion's in a super heavy auxiliary, and then Magnus, who's the Warlord, I think.
And the Changeling, okay. Right.
Yeah, Pogspringer, Changeling, the Changeling, and the Lord of Change. Troops, horrors, and 3 lots of Nurgling, or like 5 Nurgling squads. Mortarion, Magnus. That's stupid, and I love it.
There's all day I dream about
Adrax, yeah. Adrax Agatone, obviously. Because this is
did
probably
like-
what I'd go across the lines of to get for a competitive Marine list for what I would have. But I'd probably do a few other things. Blade Guard, surprisingly, I didn't think much of them originally, but they have really hit the ground running in terms of being competitively viable.
Oh yeah, they're really
They're
good.
Those are
really
cool.
good. And
Yeah.
especially now in Deathwing, they are even scarier.
Just
Because
be
they can
chomping.
be, because you can give them the first circle, like you can give them in a circle, and they get a lot, and you can basically make it so you can only wound them on a 4, 5, or a 6. I don't know how that works, but people have been saying it, and when I read through the book on Saturday, hopefully when I get it, I will tell you why in the review. But, like, Blade Guard veterans, already with the Storm Shields that they have, and basically having Transhuman on them always, without having to spend the stratagem for it, is kind of scary, because they have a lot of attacks. With power swords and nonsense. I think what we could look at, though, we should have a look at the Ardward Down Under's. Let's have a look at what their Death Skulls list was, because I'm just curious because it's an orc list. It is a Death Skull, obviously. Big mech with shock attack gun and a war boss, who's the biggest boss with the killer claw. Cunning but brutal. Custom shooter, power claw, and is the warlord. 1 squad of Gretchen. That's it.
Yep.
In this one. 5 commandos, as we mentioned, the actions unit. 2 squads of 5 storm boys with stick bombs and 3 trucks. With big shooters. The Vanguard, which is also Death Skulls. 2 more big mechs with shock attack guns. 3 squads of Mega Knobs with 4 Mega Knobs with kill saws.
And a boss Mega
and the
Knob
boss
with
knob
sword.
with the kill saws. So,
So
203
3 squads of 5 Mega Knobs is so stupid.
I love it.
It's so unnecessary. Of just like, hey, here's 600 points of a big lump.
Well, that's the thing. It's a Death Star, isn't it? That's what they call them.
But it's a Death Star with having a look at it. Well, I guess they got the Death Skull Invulnerable save, don't they? They got the 6+.
Yeah.
But
and you've got 3 trucks that they're going to be sitting in.
With that
True.
bullshit save.
And then obviously as well you got 8 tank busters, Megatruck Scrapjet with the corkscrew, and 5 more Storm Boys.
Yep. It's all about the Mega Knobs. It's the Mega Knobs, and you got your 3 big mechs with the shock attack guns. It's such a swingy list. I mean, that's kind of the point though with orcs, and especially when you're taking those shock attack guns. Either you roll high or you don't. Like, you either roll really high or you lose the game. Those are your options, and either way it's going to be fun.
Shock attack guns are so funny.
Yeah, I love them.
It's so much fun.
Seeing Joe back in the day roll next on a shock attack gun was something.
However, I was going to say, what was the old relic type thing that you could get with the shock attack gun?
Yeah, it was the souped up shocker.
Yeah, it
which made that
doesn't
thing
exist anymore.
Yeah, which is good because that thing was fucking stupid.
It's so much fun.
It was really fun and I loved it, but it gave orcs too much consistency.
I agree.
Which is not an orc thing. You can't have consistent orcs. That's not the point.
I don't know. Orcs can consistently punch you in the face.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's the main thing. Like
you're implying they'll get to you.
Yeah, that's true. Like again, a lot of these lists are super cool, and
Super fun.
I think
Okay.
yeah.
Are you gonna skip the word bearers list, which has 60 possessed?
Oh, sorry.
I do
For
like
your
the
sake, Evan.
list.
Obviously, we've looked at George's one. We've looked at one for John. We'll have to
that's
look at one for
huge.
you as well. Let's have a look. It is a word bearers battalion of Chaos Space Marines. I don't know where this list came, but we'll see. Let's see.
I love its
We're
ranged
hissing
power
at each
being
other
like
now.
nothing.
Okay, a Dark Apostle, Master of Possession, and a Sorcerer. Looks like 3 squads of 10 cultists with auto guns, 60 possessed with all Mark of Slanesh and all just Mark of Slanesh with an icon of excess, and then a patrol of Chaos Demons of Slaneshi, which is Celesk, which is the one where it's the
demon prince with the herald on his back.
it's the guy who's just walking and he's got the little one standing on top. A squad of 10 demonettes with an instrument and like that's just that's ridiculous.
Yeah, I love
the
that 1,210 points. Sorry, 1,230 points of that
Oh my god.
is possessed.
Fucking oh my
Literally
god.
the only reason Celesk is there is to buff the possessed, and that is it.
Yeah, that is putting all your eggs in one basket.
What do they do?
What, Celesk?
Yeah, to buff the.
So they have the Locust of Slaanesh, so on strength, and they reroll hits of 1.
Ooh.
And then they also give the Slaanesh Allegiance ability because the entire detachment is Slaanesh, which is it's a 6-inch aura of they can charge after they've advanced, which is
That's scary. That's
Yeah,
pretty
that's pretty-
scary.
Pretty huge.
In a vacuum, obviously, this is very specific with the Dark Apostle Master of Possession buffing those possessed as much as they can. And you've got to get through 60, and they're all T5.
No, they're not.
Oh no, these are still T4.
Yep, they're
It's
still
the Death
the old
Guard
possessed.
ones that are T5.
Not quite as good as the new boys.
No, but-
unfortunately.
We'll have to see as well what they look like when the main Chaos book comes out. But still, like, that's a lot of bodies to get through. And don't they all have demon saves? So they all have 5
Yeah,
up
they'll have
bones?
higher than
Look, back in my day, that'd be 120 cultists, not 3 into 10.
Back in my day, can't believe
Uh-huh.
they've done this.
I miss them.
I'm so glad that they got rid of these thousands of cultists.
No.
Overtaking an
Stupid.
entire hive city with the lads.
Alpha Legion hate him. Local
Cultists are
man
fun.
devalues cultists.
Cultist bomb was like the only thing they had in their codex going for them, and then GW was like, no. I'm like, oh.
Just no.
Cool. And then they nerfed them again like 2 more times after that for no reason.
Really just kick them and they were down.
I think
And then-
that we can kind of, off of this, we can go on to kind of like a main point for the next, like, 20 minutes that we've got before we want to try and start wrapping things up. That talking about, in terms of competitive play, because I'm competitively curious. I tried to play a tournament with AdMech at one point, hence why a lot of my models were very rushed and do not look great now, because I tried to rush them so I could do the event. I was playing, I thought I was very confident with it. I had a combo. I messed up that combo. Wasn't really thinking in terms of competitive mindset, and lost every game.
Woof.
It's a roughie.
It is a roughie, but that's also at a point where it was very early 8th edition, and AdMech had a lot of problems. They had like maybe one combo that could work, which was mainly just the taser chicken bomb, and that was about it. Or just as many Dakka bots as you could have. And I think I had a mixture of that, but a lot of the armies I had were like super competitive Marine lists and this, that, and the other, so it's like I would like to try some like a mixture of competitive stuff and maybe have a look at stuff in the future. But I think one thing to mention in terms of being competitive isn't for everyone. If you just want to play toy soldiers with your friends, then you go ahead and do that and you have a good time doing it, and that's the main thing. But what I will say is for the people who want to be competitive, that there's a very particular mindset that you need to be into, which is it is still a game. Winning at any cost is a bad mindset, in my opinion. It's not
I'm
healthy.
actually going to disagree with you here. I think that a lot of tournament players really revel in the trying to find those little loopholes, those little extra steps to give you that advantage. So that you're coming at each other, both great commanders, but I've searched through the books, I've gone through the rule books, the codexes, and the FAQs, and I found this little trick that gives me that slight edge.
See,
And
that's
so is my
fine.
opponent. I think at
That
high
is
level
fine.
competitive stuff, I think that is
When it gets to the high level stuff, though,
fun,
Everyone
like
knows that.
amazingly.
everyone knows the tricks, right?
But that's the thing, it's like that in itself is fine, but there's a fine line between that and then completely skewing how rules are interpreted to only benefit what you're doing.
Yeah, no, there's a difference.
There is a
between,
main difference between the two.
finding cheese and trying to argue a win.
Yeah, exactly. It's that kind of thing. So with that in
like a-
mind... Oh, carry on, Alex.
It's like when me and George went to a casual doubles tournament with a random, like a table of like random effects they did, and something happened at the start of the other person's turn. And they got really salty about it, and it was like a super casual tournament.
Oh,
It was it's like fun.
It was a case of we had an effect that didn't really affect us in any way whatsoever, or I think that they rolled that there was no effect, and as soon as it went to their turn, because it was just on like a global timer that they were rolling it on like the main desk. As soon as it went to their turn, it was an effect that was detrimental to them.
Yeah,
It was like
minor detriment, like
very
almost nothing.
minorly, yeah.
So dice were thrown and
This
toys
was
were
when,
thrown out of the pram.
This was when Storm Ravens were really big, and they, had one. So
So the way the fight thing worked was it was like the duos, you could play whatever fucking you want, the two separate armies, 750 points, and not doing specific, so building a list a specific way, so like no duplicates, what mono faction, all that would give you loads of command points. I mean, like 20. It was fun.
Oh no, we
but
had like 35, 40 command points.
Oh fuck. Okay.
we had 25. And I went Alpha Legion for Cultist Bomb, a bunch of stuff was really fun. Judd went Necrons, and then these people had a Storm Raven full of stuff. That was one army.
Mm.
And then Chronos, what the fuck are they called? The
Chronos
big gun.
Hive Guard.
Yeah. So basically, what happened was
shoot through walls, cannons.
they set up. You set up your army on a map, on a board with all the terrain. The one army went, we ignore all of it.
Yeah.
Cool.
And see, like that kind of thing when you're arguing about something that you knew going in was going to happen, and you're still arguing to your last breath about it.
When you're when you're winning.
Yeah.
Oh, I knew they were really scummy about it. Because I remember Alex was like, "Oh, I'm going to cast a spell." Oh, you're going to cast a spell, are you? Oh, okay. Oh, well, you peril 6 times die because I didn't tell you this rule that I had. It's like,
oh, the entire thing was all that stuff. The entire way they played was all about exploiting things that you don't know. And I was like, fuck off. They were just dickheads. A casual tournament, there's doubles of silly rules. It's just like, why are these people here? You got to read the room a lot. And it was like, dude, take it seriously. Obviously, like learn your army and everything. But you gotta have sportsmanship. That's the whole point.
Sportsmanship is the main thing. And if anyone listening or watching encounters someone like that, try and be gracious with it. If they start getting worse, get a referee involved. If you are playing at a competitive level, if you are playing at a casual level, and you're just not having a good time considering who they are, just stop playing against them. In all honesty, like limiting their options should. No one needs that. Especially like you're just there, just playing games with toy soldiers for fuck's sake. They are little plastic men and women and other aliens. That you have painted yourself, you've spent a time with a hobby, and you're just sitting down to fucking play it, right? That is your main thing. If you're that scummy that you need to cheat or argue in every single case of the word of toy soldiers, then I think you need to focus on something else. However,
the main thing in those situations is that you can finish the game knowing well that you've painted your models and you've put some effort in. They've probably just sprayed it, turned it,
or bought them off eBay,
washed it, put it in, because that's the net list of the time, or something like that.
Yeah, or they bought it off eBay from someone else who's selling it. But I think so. But with that in mind, in terms of as we look with competitive play, and I want to kind of pass it over to Evan, who is the more competitively minded out of us. You're not like a full-on I must be competitive player all the time, and you've built some very memey lists in the past.
I played Space Marines.
Exactly, but I think you and Alex are definitely the best kind of people to ask in terms of when you're looking at a competitive list, when you're wanting to say I want to go to a tournament and obviously have fun, but not lose every fucking game. Of like what kind of things you should be looking for in terms of trends, in terms of not necessarily specific examples, but just like generalized things to remember.
So I think the basic thing with 9th edition is you have to play with your secondaries. You need to know what you can kill, how many of you can kill, how maneuverable you are. Like those Death Cult Assassins, I think that is such a good thing to put in a list if your faction has access to it. Like being able to just like have 2 models walk onto an objective and do things. It's like, yes, they might just get blown off the board, but then your opponent has shot them and not shot something else. But then you have things like, the occasional odd faction like Space Marines, which have 2 models which are just extremely tough and have storm shields and are in Terminator armor. That can put a flag up. You're not going to kill them without putting in enough shots that you'll either overkill them or you won't kill them. But that's really important. And obviously, maneuverability is really good in 9th edition, because just being able to be everywhere gives you a lot of threat saturation.
You just want a lot of cost efficiency out of your units as well, right? You want to make sure that if you pay points for something, it will get what it needs to do done before it dies. That's why eliminators are good. It's because for their points, you drop them in, they shoot twice.
Eradicators.
Eradicators. You drop them in, so they can't be shot at from reserves. Shoot twice, kill something probably. That's way above their points, and then go cool. If they die now, that's fine. Will they die? Probably not, because they're freaking tough as well.
Exactly
on top of all of that. It's
Recently,
stupid.
there was a Dark Eldar player that had maximum squad sizes of Reaver jet bikes. They're awful. But after the most recent points errata, they were 10 points a model, which is a point cheaper than Witches. So that was clearly a mistake.
For jet bikes?
Yeah, it was literally changed like a few hours ago. But people being like, oh, these are cheap, I'm just going to take them because they're cheap and they're fast. That was it. They're really bad, but they're cheap and fast, so you take them because they can capture objectives.
It's like in the Harlequins list. You take a lot of Harlequins with blades rather than actual good melee weapons now, because it's nice to have cheap Harlequins.
Yeah.
Despite them 100% being worse than the melee weapon, by a lot. But also then that helps you, free up room for other things like more fusion pistols on Harlequins, or the 2 massive units of bikes you're going to take with them, because those things are stupid strong.
I guess, just from kind of my perspective as well, though, I don't play competitive armies. Especially during 8th edition, when I first started getting into the hobby, I played AdMech, which were definitely not competitive, and had 1 trick, or as I said, maybe 2. And that took me a while to get to that kind of point. And then I played Deathwatch, because I didn't want to play normal Marines, I wanted to play Deathwatch, because I thought Deathwatch were cool. And now, looking at them, I could make a actual, quite decently competitive army with Deathwatch, but there's also things I can't really do very well. I would probably never take an action which is an action secondary in the Deathwatch, because I have 3 troops of kill teams, and they're all doing stuff. I can't let them just sit there and not do anything.
Yeah.
Or if there is a unit that can do it, they are better served doing stuff elsewhere. Another army that I really want to try and have a look at, and I will take to a tournament, and I know for a fact I'm not going to do well with them, but I think it would just be fun, is to take a Tempestus list to a tournament. Because some Tempestus do have a lot of options. They have cheap troops, especially now after the points. I can now fit Bulgrins in there for, in addition to all the squads I have. And there are, I know a lot of that army now back to front. So, you got to kind of understand as well, I would think, that with whatever army you're playing, as we kind of said as well, is know the cost efficiency of what you can and can't kill with the unlocks and weapons you have. Understand that some armies, especially currently, if you are going to try and play them competitively, probably aren't going to have a good chance, but still persevering through that means that there are things that people might overlook, or they might forget about something that you can use to your advantage, and it becomes that kind of balance of play. And it's a lot of it is cost efficiency, and comes down to also the situation that you're in, and just being able to read your board state. Tempestus is an army of, if you're going to win the game by the end of turn 2. Which is most you pretty much dump everything in turn 2. If you get into turn 3, you may pull out a close victory at most. You're not going to run away with points. But then you look at, for example, some armies that, if you can manipulate that board state, and, with movement, with high maneuverability, high amount of kill lanes, and potential shooting out, shooting targets and how you're actually targeting things, like that board state matters the most, and armies that are going to be more competitive can manipulate that harder. So I just want to say, make sure to know your army and what they are able to do with what they have currently. Always
I'd say
expect that things will
Tempestuous-
change. Yeah.
Tempestus are really, really good at just like, where do they need to be? Right,
They're there now.
I've got all of my squads there, or like I could just be wherever I need to be.
They
at
can't be.
any
You can't
point.
hide from them.
Yeah,
No,
and
you
I
can't-
don't
you
want to.
can't
I
hide
want to
from
call
that.
this out, especially the reason I want to take them to a. I want to actually like play them properly, is because if anyone is anyone familiar with the Dice Check channel?
Yep.
I know John
Nope.
is.
Oh,
Dice Check,
yeah. Magic copies float.
Yeah.
Yeah.
because they're set up. Bricky, who is a very big guard player, posted a video of a tier list for Astra Militarum, and said that the Tempestus Scions were C tier at best. And I know he will never hear this, but I'm going to make a video specifically proving that point and saying that he is dead wrong.
Do you mean disproving that?
Disproving, sorry. English is not my first language, George, as you know this. My first language is monkey.
Yep.
Really?
But I'm going to call Bricky. If you ever see this, I'm calling you out directly. Tempestus are at least B. Okay, they're at least B tier, and I'll prove that point.
You're really
That's a
pushing
hard
for that
call
B
out.
We're
line.
pushing for a B
real
here.
hard call. And
Especially
can
with an
I-
officer of the fleet.
I'd like to ask.
Mhm.
I think definitely Evan here. What people's opinion are the fact that the majority of competitive tournaments that have been played recently, within the past year, vast majority of them have been on tabletop sim.
Don't like it.
I don't
I mean,
know.
yeah,
I mean,
it's
go
it's
for
good
it,
that
but, like-
good that they're doing it. Fantastic. I don't like tabletop sim.
I don't want this to become the future of wargaming. It should be done on the table, in my opinion.
Oh, and it will be when we can do. You know.
Yeah, it's a much grander scale,
Because I think a lot of people are kind of enjoying the fact that, hey, there's this tournament coming up, which I wouldn't be able to compete in due
Normally.
to distance, or I wouldn't be
Or-
able to compete in because my list isn't finished, or because my army isn't built,
Or you don't
or
even
I don't have the right
have that
units.
army.
I don't even have the army that I want to play at all.
Mm.
But I've got a
It's a-
codex.
It just feels a bit jank playing on the tabletop
Yeah,
sims.
The control.
Yeah.
I'd rather move 120 infantry models physically than have to do it on tabletop sim. Even though you can like highlight them all and drag, half of them will flip over. They won't be in the same place. The base sizes will be
yeah.
different.
I have
Like-
one counter to that, and Zell's also kind of adding in as well, in chat. And I got one counter to that. If you could play it in VR. Because it is VR compatible. You got a headset, you got your thing. That might be the
VR
only way I'd actually be able to play it
That would
properly.
just add another
VR
layer of jank.
Oh yeah,
VR
it's going to be more
tabletop
jank,
sim
but it's like, at least for me, if I try, like, I've tried to play it, and John, we've tried to play it together, I cannot fucking concentrate with that,
Yeah.
because I'm sitting at my desk, I'm watching that, and I've got other things, I got shit on my other screen, you know? It's very difficult to just sit down and focus on it, and I'm ADD as fuck, like, yeah.
I've played tabletop sim in VR. It's so jank. It's
No?
Trust me.
Okay,
No.
I'll take your
Trying
word
to
for it.
move anything in VR is a pain in the ass tabletop sim.
And yeah, as like Zell points out as well, that there has been a lot done by the modding community to make it work, but it's still a physics engine at the end of the day, and it's a jank physics engine at best.
Yeah.
Like being able
It's
to
fine.
be able to like
It's
script
built for
board
purpose.
games that are like scripted board games where you have a lot of interaction, you just press a button and it does a lot of these things for you. Great. The most that we've had with that is that you get static maps, which are, in fairness, balanced. The thing is, though, measuring is very skewed because you're doing it in a 3D perspective and you're not able to like look top down properly. It's kind of jank. And then also the physics of the models, and sometimes the models are just god awful. They're just on a wrong base size for one, and they're either just a cutout and a PNG of the image from Games Workshop's website, or they are an actual really nice 3D model, but there's always something wrong with them.
Or
know?
a lot of ripped models
Dawn of War.
From Dawn of War.
yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's so weird. It's good. That's okay to be fair, but it's
Yeah, the measuring doesn't work, and I agree with Zal. The measuring is, considering that's kind of the main part of the game. The dice rolling, it's a dice rolling engine. You can just, like, dice rolling engines are not difficult. in terms of like of just the logic that they are. It's just instead of totaling, you're just counting individual dice and just organizing them. That's fine. But when you've got a game which that measuring and precise measurements matters a lot in an engine that doesn't do it very well, it doesn't bode well. And I think we all agreed, like, because of like trying to do content for this channel in lockdown, that we would never touch tabletop sim because it's not a good viewing experience for anyone. It's not fun to play in, and it doesn't work. You know,
I think it works. I just don't think it's fun.
In Roll20 than I would on a tabletop sim.
Oh god, I think that's pushing it too. Because
Oh,
Roll20 is a piece of shit. And I'm paying premium for it, and I absolutely
Yes,
hate the fucking thing.
I like the premium though.
Oh, I like the premium, yeah, it's fine, but it's an absolute piece of shit. Like,
Mine was so loud,
It's
yeah,
fine.
that's-
D&D Beyond is gonna release something this year. They'll probably just to remove.
I
Roll20
really
from
hope so.
relevance.
I really hope
Well,
so.
they're working on something.
Yeah, but yeah,
Taste it.
like I'm glad we're waiting to actually try and do something in person instead of attempting to do like anything on tabletop sim. The only thing I'd be willing to do on tabletop sim is playing board games, and that's about it. Because
Board
there are
games are
some
fine
board
on
games
that.
which, you know, for example, Kingdom Death Monster, you can't fucking get it anywhere, and if you can, it's like 500 quid just to get the pissing thing. But you can get it for free on tabletop sim as a mod, which has also been like scripted and just works. You know, you have to know less of the rules because a lot of it's done for you. Gloomhaven, another perfect example.
Me and Joe played a chunk of Red Dragon in on Tabletop Sim.
And John's played a lot of Red Dragon as well.
It's
I
so
haven't had
Dragon
a chance
in.
to play it yet because every time they do it, I'm also fuck tired and not drinking. So,
It's so good.
but yeah, like, especially because we want to try and make sure that we're doing the best viewing experience possible. So up until then, up until the point where we can do battle reports, we're just going to be sticking to like content like this and just discussions. Especially with, you know, the Dark Angels book coming out, we're going to have a discussion about that. I still don't know who's going to talk about it with me, but that's happening.
Evan, probably.
Probably
Evan.
Evan. If Evan, if you are interested in doing so, to make a video out of.
I did play them for 2 editions.
There we go. That's
You
probably
still
the
know
best
more
person to
memories
talk
than
to. But yeah, like, I mean, going slightly back onto the topic of competitive mindness, and obviously, tabletop sim's not going to be. It's a temporary solution for a very temporary problem. When we can actually
100%.
start actually going outside properly, going down a firestorm and playing games with each other, which we will be doing as much as possible. Not before recording, obviously, and recording our own stuff as well on top of that. You know, there's going to be things that are going to be fixed, and most likely as well that people who are playing on tabletop sim, and to follow on from John's point, are probably playing an army that they now enjoy, that they've discovered from playing it on tabletop sim and just kind of learning it out, learning how the game works. It's like, right, I'm going to make my own ones now. Buys the models, knows exactly what list he's going to make, and it knows exactly how it's going to play, so that they can just duplicate the experience and enhance it by doing it in person, which is exactly what I did with Tempestus.
You know what the real big list is of 2021?
What?
You get 30 death marks.
Oh, this death mark thing again, George.
That's all you need.
So-
Eradicators, gone.
George, we've talked about this.
No problem.
You've
Then
got to
you
stop,
get
man.
vehicles in.
No, he needs to go back to the next tournament at Firestorm Games with his death mark list,
Yeah,
so that the
They can prove his point.
so that the commentators can have a little redemption arc going, and it's just
That's my goal. That's my one goal.
That is the one goal.
It seems the Necron player's come back and he's proxying death marks as Necron. What? No, he's actually using them as death marks.
Especially now that they are.
Why
heavy
is he
one.
doing this?
They're heavy one to hit on 2s now.
I don't think they're that bad anymore, are they?
No, they're not that.
They are better than they were.
But they're still like the worst thing in the book.
Don't take 30 of them.
Yeah, but he's going to.
They're the second worst thing in the book.
Yeah.
Which to be fair, Phaidons are kind of bad, so it's hard. it's yeah. Hold on.
It's
let me-
just
coming
just
to you
dumb.
only in the kill team box.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but what about in the kill team box? They're up against, 1-to-1 with a bunch of Marines. Surely they're gonna
heavy
be.
intercessors and that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Hey, that means
I
I'm
really
busted.
want heavy intercessors as well, because that was like the whole point of my salamanders, was that they're mostly like heavy lists or heavy armor sets, and it's like now I have to. I fucking.
You don't have to. You don't have to.
I know I don't
Don't
have to.
buy
But
the tilting
It's
box.
I'm
not
not
a rush.
going
We're
to.
we're in lockdown anyway.
Exactly. I've got Tempestus to try and finish.
If you buy the kill team box, I'm gonna come round to your house, break quarantine, just so I can take it off you.
You probably would as well.
So, for the record, Deathmarks got cheaper. Is why I'm just like, next time I'm going, fantastic. They got cheaper. They gained +1 toughness.
Hmm.
They gained +1 ballistic skill. The weapon gained. The weapon's completely different. It used to be rapid fire 1, strength 4 with the sniper rule. Now it is 36-inch range, heavy 1, strength 5, AP 2 with the sniper rule.
And it's damage 1, I believe.
Yeah, damage 1.
Yeah, but it's still
Yeah, but if you fire 30 shots,
you're probably killing something. Yeah, like
Yeah, and they've got
fuck that smash captain. I got 30 death marks.
So they can intercept things and shoot them still. It's a shame that that's a stratagem now and not just ability that they have, which sucks.
Is that also? I think. Sorry, slight thing because Zell's just pointed out. Is that just going to become a common thing now? It's just don't buy the box.
don't.
Off the shelf. Don't buy the box. It's the new company slogan.
It's just not. It's a money grab. It's such an obvious money grab.
Yeah, it's a bad one.
See, here's the thing, George. You take your 30 death mark list to a tournament. I will take my Tempestus list to a tournament, the same tournament that you will end up going to, and we'll see what happens. I think that is something we should do.
Like, oh, I've got this tasty officer of the fleet, and I'd be like, had.
Yes, that's true. Oh, he will as soon as they appear, he will have one turn where he is useful.
To be
which
fair,
is turn
against Harlequins, George's Deathmark list will just kill all the characters.
That's true, and I wish I could do that. I wish
Easily.
I could kill.
I really like the idea of bringing something like Gazgul against that list and be like, oh yeah, you can shoot him, only for a couple of wounds.
It's max 4.
Yeah.
Max 4 get fucked.
It would be such a waste.
Does he come in at any point like deep striking?
No, he starts on the board and
board.
walks at you.
Yeah.
So you're approaching me.
He's so scary. I'd have to throw rice at him and then just chip away at him with a canvas.
That's the thing. You use all those death marks and be like, I'm here to shoot all these characters. Oh, there's just one big boy and I'm only allowed to do 4 wounds to him. Yeah.
Fuck. It's like literally the one counter to death marks. Gazgul done.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we should probably start wrapping it up. To be honest, it's getting.
I'm happy to call it there.
It's getting quite late.
Yeah.
Has anyone got anything to add before I do the final little bit? Don't buy the box.
No. Don't buy the box. Yeah, don't
buy the box.
Don't buy the box.
Simple as.
Oh, the box you should buy though when it comes out. It's KC. It's the new models I should have. Is nice.
That's true. We will talk about that because there was only 3 skeletons.
Yep.
We will talk about that at another point.
Probably next week.
Probably. Right. So we're going to start wrapping this up here. So I'd like to thank everyone for watching and everyone for listening to Off the Shelf Hobby Podcast episode 6. Make sure to follow us on our socials on Twitter and Instagram. Links will be in the description below. And also follow us on YouTube and Twitch. We'll be streaming exclusively on Twitch until further notice. And videos will be coming out very shortly. Expect a Dark Angel review next week. And the next stream will be on Tuesday for our hobby stream. I'd like to thank you all very much for watching. And we will see you next time. Ta-ra now.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Who is link in description?